Alex, you won the $2,500. So that's it, man. It's yours.
No,
Yeah, bro.
it's not.
Yeah, man. So he won $2,500. You're gonna get a check for that. And
No, you're lying.
no, man. Yeah. So he's gonna get some money that's gonna come his way to pay for the training. So it's yours, brother.
Joe,
Yeah, man.
that means so much.
Yeah, bro, for sure. All right, so what's up, guys? Joe Munoz, OneStepPrep.com. We've got Alex in the studio here. I ran into Alex at a grocery store, and I had a One Step Prep shirt on. He sees the shirt. You correct any of the story if I'm wrong on this, okay? So,
Yeah.
So he sees the shirt, he sees the airplane, and he says, hey, do you work with airplanes? And I said, yeah, I fly airplanes. I got a flight school, blah, blah. We got to talking, make a long story short. We've been in touch ever since as he continues pursuing his private instrument commercial, multi-rating, and ultimately later on down the line, ATP, and then going to fly for an airline. He just did a first solo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Okay. Tell us about that. How was that?
It was amazing.
Thank
My
you.
first solo, it was the first time I felt like I reached a checkpoint in my flight training. I've been working these past months towards my licensing, but my process has been just continuing to do the same thing every week, that this seems like a checkpoint for a
Yeah, man.
surface for where I can continue to grow.
Yeah. And so it's almost probably feels like finally I'm making progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a milestone. Maybe that's the word for it. It's like finally. I know when I did my first solo, I'll tell you real quick. It sounds like it was a similar story for Alex. We got up. This was in FIT, Melbourne, Florida. That's where I went to my flight training. You're training down here in South Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get up to the airport and super excited and what have you. Couldn't sleep the night before. Like all this emotions going through. I do 2 laps around the pattern with my instructor. The instructor hops out. He says, "All right, you got it. You're going to do fine." And I'm for the first time holding short of the runway, looking around like. There ain't nobody in here but me, so I better do it right, and so I had, I felt confident at the time I was able to do it, and fortunately my instructor also had the confidence in me, but you still have this, like, I don't know, something in your stomach that's like, you're going to go fly by yourself.
Yeah.
Anyways, so congratulations on that. When did that take place?
That took place this past Monday on the 26th of June. So.
Man, so 26th of June, that's 2 days ago. He texted me, super excited, did my first solo, so yeah, man, something worthy of celebrating. And so now what I want to share with you is like his work ethic. I think you and I hit it off pretty well because I basically see me and you. Man, just like the work ethic, like he's in high school, he's working 2 jobs. He's working at a restaurant, he's working at a grocery store. He now applied for a 3rd place, which is at an airport, which I think is a phenomenal idea. And this is one of the things I wanted to talk about here is like, if you need to get close to where the action is, right? And getting close to the action is being on the airport. Those of you that are on the up and coming to become a pilot, get where there's other pilots, or at the very least there's connections to other pilots, which would be on the airport, And so he's looking at working at an FBO now, which is also going to assist in, I think they rent airplanes at the FBO you're looking to, or they give you some kind of discount at a flight school. So he's able to get like flight training at a reduced rate.
The grocery store scene, a lot of people go to grocery stores because that's a common place for what people need. So you see people like pilots or of any career, really. So for me, I look out for people at Publix to network, but that still has a limited range because a grocery store isn't the airport. But it definitely has been a good first step where I've been able to meet Joe to network.
Yeah, and the stars just aligned, because he was working, I was there. I happen to have an airplane shirt on. Like, had I not had an airplane shirt on, like our logo or whatever, you wouldn't have known I'd do anything with airplanes,
Exactly.
Yeah, so, but really what I want to say is like just commending the work ethic, because you got to understand, when you're in high school, at least my experience through high school, most people in high school aren't doing anything at that point other than, maybe some extracurricular things, but they unfortunately maybe haven't figured out what they want to do career-wise. Not true for everybody. Some people have, but most times they don't. Or they're spending time doing non-productive things, you know, so there's a lot of going to school and then doing non-productive things, hopefully not getting in trouble, this kind of thing. But for you to have the dedication, discipline, to want to really, the desire, so to speak, and commitment to say, hey, I'm going to work 2 jobs, now apply for a 3rd one on the airport, keep going to high school. He's doing his flight training on the weekend. Like, this was my story, right? It was like, I go to school, I go wash planes, I rake up a little bit of money, and then I go fly an airplane. And that was literally my whole life. I mean, I was a kid walking around in high school with flying magazines in my backpack, you know what I mean? So it sounds to me like, I mean, what's your typical schedule right now when you're out, you know? Like, obviously right now it's summertime. And by the way, he's not wasting his summer. He's working all these jobs to hoard money to go, you know, to go fly, right? So, but what does your schedule look like right now?
Well, for the past 3 weeks, I have not had a single day off from work. Even on days I fly, I go fly in the morning and then I go to work. Sometimes it's both places that I'll finish at one time I'll do like 11 to 5 and then I'll do 5 to close, so about 11 to 11 for the whole day. But everything is always worth it. So it's an everyday thing that I now have the ability to pursue my passion. And it's like, oh, you don't have time off. And while I'm always out, you know, working or something, I always know it's for my purpose.
Yeah.
And my purpose is to fly.
Yeah.
So everything at the end of the day is worth it.
Yeah.
If you really love it, you'll continue to find every possible way.
Yeah. Man, and you know, it's like, it's funny because, you know, people say you don't have time off. This was a common thing I got a lot in high school. It's a common thing I get right now. Joe, you work too much, right? You need to take time and smell the roses, you know, and it's like, I always get, you know, sometimes if you want to call it, I know it's, you know, probably well intended, but sometimes a little bit critical, criticisms of like, hey, work less and take more time to smell the roses. I fully understand that, but I would tell you, do not slow down. Those of you watching this that you want to pursue flying or you want to pursue anything, maybe you're not even trying to pursue flying, you're trying to pursue something else entirely, whatever, do not slow down. I think you need to become obsessed with what it is you're trying to do. That's been the case for me, and obviously you have that discipline and dedication to do it. And yeah, man, just like eat, live, breathe, and sleep airplanes, you know. So let's now record here what it is, I wanted to give you like my advice, like in terms of, so it gets on the camera for all you guys watching. You're in a similar situation as Alex here. What I would be doing if I were in your shoes right now is what you're doing. Continuing to work, continuing to put aside that money, that capital to be able to invest into your flying. Network. Making the move to the airport job. Number one thing I'd be doing for sure. Like that definitely is going to open up doors of opportunity. Apart from that, once you get your private instrument commercial, you're going to find yourself at 250 hours, and now you have this challenge of like, how do I build time? This was for me one of the largest challenges. How do I go from 250 hours to 1,500 hours, right? That 1,250 hour gap has to be bridged. So for me, because I was working in the airport washing planes, I had basically a network of people that I built up that were able to connect me with other people that were either in a charter business, they owned airplanes, they need people that wanted to time build. And so I actually didn't do the CFI route. I know it's very common. I didn't tow banners, I didn't crop dust. You know, I didn't do any of these traditional methods, so to speak. But through the network of people, I was able to accumulate around 400 hours total flight time. And then I got picked up flying a Merlin, which was basically a corporate flight, you know, department that picked me up doing charters. And so that could be something for you. You fly charters, 135 charters, or there's some carriers here, like the one I mentioned that's up here on the few floors up, and that we're in the Miami Crystal Palace. And there's 135 charters, and in this market, they would probably pick you up with relatively low time. Not to say don't do the CFI thing. You know, if you genuinely love instructing and you want to pursue the CFI thing too, that's a good route to go as well. But what I'm getting to is quality time in the airline, in the eyes of the airlines, which I think what you want to do is go to the airlines.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're trying to do the airline route, definitively, I would say, hey man, get some quality time, which means multi-engine turbine. Turboprop is okay. If it could be multi-engine turbojet, even better, like in a jet airplane. But even multi-engine turboprop is acceptable. Crew environment, and there's plenty of charter companies out here that would hire you with 400 or 500 hours. Into those positions, you know. So that's what I would tell you. We'd love to hear what you think about it or where you're at in the comments section below. What does an average like flight for you right now cost? You know, because when I went flying, I think my whole flying career might have cost like in terms of initial investment, it was like $80,000 or something. Like I was paying, and this was back in 2009. I think I was paying like $110 an hour, and then the instructor was another $50, so it was like $160 an hour. What do you pay hourly to get a range? Let's do some quick math.
Even for the other flight schools that I've seen, I think the prices at my flight school are generally still a little bit lower. And the Cessna 150 is one of the aircraft I fly, and that one wet price with fuel and everything is $123 an hour plus 65 for the instructor. So you're paying about $188 per hour.
Okay. So this isn't a 150.
This is a 150, so this is the cheapest plane.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I was paying $160 in a 172, several years back. So obviously things have gone up. So for you to fly 172, what would you be paying roughly?
The 172 is wet price 178 plus 65 for the instructor.
Okay.
So
178.65. So 243. You need at least 40 hours for a private. You're looking at about 10 grand.
yeah.
If you're in a 172, right? So those of you wondering, what does a private pilot cost? 9,700. That's not even including your materials. What are you using for books? Maybe like you probably have ASA or GLIME. Or,
ASA,
that's what I used.
used the PHAC online, the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. But for at least your written exam, there's many free resources such as King Schools. PSI has some practice tests for private pilot. Shepherd Air does not have for private pilot, but for your other licensings they do, and that's probably the best resource. And King's Test Prep, and there's an app on your phone that you could be on the toilet and you whip out your phone instead of going on Instagram. You go do some private pilot test questions because it's very easy. You download it, it's like 1,000 questions.
Yeah, instead of going on Instagram, you hear this? Okay, this is a millennial we're talking to, a Gen whatever Z or X. I don't even know where we're at now. But point being that everyone's like, oh, they're always on the social media thing. Not everybody, man. I mean, social media has this thing. It's purpose. But the point being, he's using a device for a productive thing, and you just have to monitor what you're using your time to do. Are you being entertained, or are you actually using it for something productive, like what you're saying here? So you're looking at $9,700 if you're in a 172, which you're training in a 150. So it's going to be a little bit less than that.
But for me, at least, luckily with my school, I have the option of multiple aircraft. So, for example, they also have the Piper PA-28, where you have you can switch between the left tank and the right tank, so you kind of get used to having to switch.
Right.
So different training. So it could be less, could be more.
Right.
Just depends on what aircraft you're flying. But it's good to get that variety.
Yeah. And personally, I like what do you fly? 150, you said, yeah. 150, 172. I trained in both 172, I did 152, and I did Piper Warrior. My favorite airplane to train in, I think, was a 172. I like the high wing, personally. The Piper Warrior is fun, too. You kind of feel like it's a little more beefy, maybe, feeling. At least that was my take on it. But for something about the high wing, man, I don't know. The 172, the high wing, it has better visibility down. I liked it better. I think the glide ratio is better on it too. Don't quote me on that, but if I'm not mistaken, I think it glides better. So I like the high wing. It's a stable training platform. Look for a school with good maintenance. I know that's the case where you're flying. So yeah, man, that's what I would share with you. So. Man, we'd love to work with you. You guys know all that we do here at One Step Prep. Hopefully we can provide some form of mentorship. If you don't know, we have a whole other website that is specifically tailored towards life mentorship. It's the same One Step Prep, only it's onestepprep.net. And if you go to the .net, you're going to find all kinds of mentorship. You'll find all kinds of stuff on personal finance and investing and even fitness. As you can probably tell, I just did some fitness expo. I did a bodybuilding show, and so we have a whole fitness program that rolled out there if you're into that kind of stuff, and it's really about infinite improvement and improving yourself. And I think that's something you're embodying fully, is like infinitely improving upon yourself. And so when we went to roll out the whole fitness platform, I have been promoting it for some time on my social media, if you don't know, One Step Prep, and then in the Instagram, 1SPJoe. And we were talking about how we're going to raise money. So Alex, you won the $2,500. So that's it, man. It's yours.
No.
Yeah, bro.
It's not.
Yeah, man. So he won $2,500. You're gonna get a check for that. And
no, you're lying.
No, man. Yeah. He's gonna get some money that's gonna come his way to pay for the training. So it's yours, brother.
Joe.
Yeah, man.
That means so much.
Yeah, bro.
I feel like I shouldn't even get it at this point because, everything so far has just been from the hours I've put in. So to have 2,500 given to me, that just doesn't feel.
Well, look, man. So this money that we raised, we basically we used the fitness show to raise funds, and some money came in, and then I matched all the money. We were matching it all, and then we were looking for someone like you to donate it to. This is the second time we do it, and we'll probably continue to do this kind of thing, But I wanted to just give some. He had no idea I was going to tell him this today. I don't think he did. So he's just here because we met, and he's been wanting to come to check out the Flight Academy. He's been following the social media stuff, and but as far as he's concerned today, he was coming to just look at the studio, look at the classrooms, maybe see a simulator. But now, he knows that he's going to have some of his training paid for. So that being said, your 150 is 123 an hour, plus your instructor. You said it's about 188, I think, per hour, right? So at least 2,500 divided by your 188. So we're looking at almost 14 hours worth of flying. So 14 hours worth of flying. How many hours do you have right now?
26.6.
Okay, 26.6, right? Down to the decimal, he knows, right? So for the sake of math, we'll call it 27. And then, plus we're going to get you at least another 13, 14 hours here. So that's going to take you to the 40 hours. So basically, this should take you to the private pilot right here.
I think, yeah. I think this helps me exponentially. This is with what I have, and
yeah, man.
That gives me the opportunity to get my license. And a lot of the training aspect can be hard if you can't pay it all at one time because you have it spaced out and you're having to refresh yourself with each gap. So being able to have the funds is such a thing to be grateful for, and I'm really grateful for you to give me this opportunity, Joe.
Yeah, man. Yeah, listen to what he just said, because I went through this myself, and then I had to cut a deal with the flight school owner. This is a real story, okay? If you are going through flight training and it's very pricey, you may only be able to fly once a month. So now you fly once a month, but then by the time your next lesson comes next month, you haven't touched a plane in 3-4 weeks now. So that becomes a problem when it comes check ride time, because I want to be fresh, which means I want to ideally have flown 3, 4, 5 days in a row and then boom, take my check ride. Well, the problem is when you're strapped for capital to do this, you can't really do that. So when I was coming up trying to do my commercial pilot license, I needed, in total, I was short about $5,800. So I told the flight school owner at the time, I was flying a Beechcraft Duchess to get my commercial multi. This was in Payne Field up in the Washington State area. And I said, listen, I need $5,800. I don't have $5,800. I definitely have a sickening work ethic. And what I want to do is just fly in this Beechcraft Duchess, do my check ride. I'll owe you $5,800, and then I'm going to pay it off to you. Give me 3 months, and I'll get you the money. And fortunately, he agreed to it. And then I washed his airplanes, believe it or not. Figured out how to come up with $5,800. But at the very least, I was sharp for my ride, passed my ride. Now the capital wasn't an issue. You just got to get creative, man. Where there is commitment, there's creativity. If you're not getting creative, there's probably some lack of commitment. And the reality of it is Alex is staying very creative because he's committed to the craft. And so I hope you are certainly on the same wavelength and the same thought processes. And that's it, man. So now we get him a check for $2,500.
Thank you so much, Joe. I don't even know what to say.
For sure. Yeah, man, nothing. You don't have to say anything. You know what you do when you become an airline pilot and you're making money? Go help somebody else raise some money up.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. I'm going to help someone one day, after I've gotten to the point where I can give back.
Yeah. And I always say, man, you cannot give what you don't have, right? Most of you know me from instructing. If I don't have anything to give as an instructor, I can't give anything. So I need to be a student myself so I can give, right? And expanding beyond that into life as a whole. This is why I launched the whole life skills, onestepprep.net, personal development. Invest in you, right? Be selfish a little bit with yourself. Invest in you so that you can be selfless and then be in a position to give. Have to give. Be selfish to be selfless. That's kind of what I say. Go for infinite improvement. Improve upon yourself. Better position yourself so that you can help other people along the way. And so very much look forward to working with you. OneStepPrep.com, OneStepPrep.net. Both of them. Go check them out. Follow the story here with Alex. Follow him on his social media, which is what? You want to share it with him? Alex _
Jacobellis, JACOBELLIS.
Okay, there it is. I was just going to find it. But there you have it. Maybe we'll put it down in the description. All right, follow him on his journey. Follow us here as we continue hopefully working with you and adding value to you. And we look forward to seeing you in another video and hopefully here in Miami sometime. All right? See ya.
Bye.